Good morning, year three. How are you? I hope that you are all fine. Okay, first of all, today we are going to revise and then solve one page in your research pack. I knew that the sound was not clear in the last video, in the video of the friction, so don't worry, we are gonna explain it again and we are going to revise it also the next days in this week. Okay, so don't worry if the sound is not clear. Okay, so let's start our lesson today. Okay, as we said that we are talking about how the forces change motion. Okay, I will not revise the push and pull now. Okay, now we are gonna come to the part of the kinds of the three forces we took. But before we took that, there is something called force meter. What does it mean by a force meter? The force meter, it's just a tool for measuring the forces. So how can I measure the forces? By the force meter. As I measure the temperature by the thermometer, as I measure the length by the ruler or the measuring tape, as I measure the weight by the balance, so I'm measuring the force by something called force meter. Okay. And then we said that the forces, they are three things: the magnetism, the gravity, and the friction. Okay, we are going to revise the three today, and I will stress on the friction part, which the sound was not clear in it. Also make sure that I will put for you the two video links on the Google Classroom, okay, the videos from the YouTube, so as to hear it and listen it carefully, okay? So don't worry if you didn't hear it in the last video, okay? Okay, first of all, we talked about the magnetism, and we said that the magnetism, it's a kind of force, it's a kind of power that attracts the things to it using a magnet. Okay, so the magnetism, it's the power, it is the force that the things are attracted to a magnet. Okay, what is the magnet? The magnet, we said that it has many shapes: bar shape, U shape, circular shape, it has many shapes. And then we said that this magnet, it has two parts. What does it mean by this part or this end? It's called a pole. We have North Pole and South Pole, okay? Those are the two ends of the magnet. And then we said that there are many cases of the magnet. If I'm putting like poles of the magnet, they will repel. What does it mean by like poles? It means that I'm putting either the north beside the north or south beside the south. They are like each other. They are alike, so they will repel. What does it mean by repel? They will not be attracted to each other. They will not be stuck to each other. And then there is another case, which is the unlike poles attract. What does mean by this? That I will put the North Pole beside the South Pole. These are opposite poles. These are two opposite ends. So they will be attracted. So they will be stuck to each other. So like poles repel means they are not attracted, means they are not stuck to each other. And unlike poles, they will be attracted, they will be stuck to each other. Okay. And then we said that those are the examples. We took it together. Okay, so those are unlike poles. So they will attract. Like poles, they will repel. Unlike attract, and then like they will repel. Okay. And then we said that there are materials that they are magnetic and materials that they are non-magnetic. Magnetic means what? Magnetic means that they are attracted to the magnet, that they will be stuck to the magnet. If I'm bringing a magnet beside the magnetic materials, they will be attracted to it. They will be stuck to it. Like what? Like some metals like the nickel, iron, cobalt, and steel. Those are the metals that they are magnetic, that they are attracted to the magnet. Then we said that there are non-magnetic materials, means what? That they are not attracted to the magnets, that they will not be stuck to the magnet. Like what? Like the wood, the glass, the plastic, the rubber, and all other metals. Then we took it, like the gold, the silver, the aluminum, and the copper. So those are the non-magnetic materials, means that they will not be attracted to the magnet, means that they will not be stuck to the magnet. And then comes other important part, which is what does it mean by magnet attract or repel through solid, liquids, and gas? Means that if I'm putting a material, a substance in the gas, I'm leaving it in the air, or I'm putting it in a cup of water or any liquid, or if I'm putting it on a solid thing, or I'm putting the solid thing on it, means a sheet of paper, for example, anything, any solid thing. So magnet can attract it if it is a magnetic material, or the magnet will not attract it if it is a non-magnetic material. Okay? Then comes to the other part of the force, which is called the gravity. So we finished the magnetism, force or power, okay, by the magnets and the repel and the attract and all of this, the magnetic and non-magnetic materials. And then we are coming to the gravity part. The gravity, it's a kind of force, it's a kind of power that pulls everything to the ground. What does it mean by this? Why are you standing on the ground? Why the chair is standing? Why the table? Why everything? It's not flying because of the gravity. So the gravity, it's a power. It's the force that keeps and pulls everything to the ground. Can you see gravity? No. You are seeing the effect of the gravity. What is the effect of the gravity? That you are standing still. We are not flying like in space or like in the moon. Okay? We are standing still. Okay? Then we come to the part which is called the weight. What does it mean by a weight? The weight, it's the measure of the pull of the gravity. How can I measure the gravity? By the weight. My weight is indicating that there is something called the pull of the gravity, that there is something called power of the gravity. Okay? And we said that if something having much more mass than the other object, so means that it will take much more gravity to pull it. Okay? Everything that is having much more mass, so it will be having much more gravity to pull it on the ground or on earth. Then comes to the part which was not clear, the friction. So we finished the magnetism. Magnetism, it's a kind of force that the magnet attracts or doesn't attract anything to it. The second thing was the gravity. It's the force or it's the power that pulls anything or everything to the ground or to the earth's surface. The third part, which is the third power, which is the third force, it's the friction. What does it mean by friction? Friction, it's a force that happens between two objects or two surfaces that they are rubbed together. Between two surfaces, they are having friction and they are rubbed together. Okay? Okay, it causes them to slow down. As you saw, or maybe it was not clear in the last video. Okay, why when you wear socks, you slide easily on the floor? And why when you wear your shoes, you don't slide easily? Why? Because there is something called friction. Friction means that they are, or this is a force between two surfaces, between the socks and between the ground, between your shoes and the ground. Those are the two surfaces. Okay? It means that they will cause them, it means that it will cause you, because I'm giving you example about the socks and your shoes, it causes you to slow down. Okay? How? There are some materials that can make rubbing objects faster. What does it mean by this? It means that it is lowering the friction, like the oils. I will give you example. If you are, of course, you must take care. If there is a piece of oil, or there is some oil, sorry, there is some oil in on the ground. What will happen if you are wearing anything, shoes, socks? What will happen? You will slide. Why? Because the oil, it's a substance which is lowering the friction. What does it mean by lowering the friction? It means that it's making the rubbing the object faster. It doesn't have the friction. Okay, it makes you slide. But there are some materials that can slow down the rubbing, means it has higher friction. Try it, for example, if you are putting an eraser on the ground and then you step over it. What will happen? Are you gonna slide like the oil? No. Why? Because it will be having higher friction. What does it mean by this? It slows down the movement. It slows down the rubbing object. It's like what? Like the rubber, like the sandpaper. Okay, and stones, of course. Okay, so this is the part of the friction. We revised that. What does it mean by friction? It's the force. What does mean by this force? When two objects, they are rubbed together between two surfaces. There are things which can make the friction slow or low, okay, which means that you can slide easily or you can walk easily or anything can move easily. And there is something makes the friction high, which is making what you're moving slowly and you're moving slow down. Okay, okay, here comes the last part in our lesson, which is two things. Forces can be non-contact forces. What does mean by non-contact forces? That you are not doing anything, you are not touching anything, like the what? Like the gravity and the magnetism. Can you control the gravity? For example, if you are in a room, can you say to anyone, you will be standing on the floor or on the ground, and in the other room, I will make you to fly? No, you cannot control the gravity. So gravity is a non-contact force. What does mean by this? You are not contacting with it. You are not touching it. You are not doing anything. It's out of your hands. Also the magnetism, when you are bringing a magnet and you are putting it, for example, beside an iron nail, will be attracted or not? It will be attracted. Can you not make the magnet attract the iron nail? You can make it if you are separating them away from each other. But if you are putting them beside each other, can you make it? No, you are not touching it. You cannot using your hands or anything. You are not controlling it. Okay. So the magnetism and the gravity, they are called non-contact forces. Means these objects that you are using it without touching, they are not contacting with the thing, which is the gravity and the magnetism. The other thing is the contact forces. It means the friction. You can control the friction. If you don't want to slide, you will not slip over an oil. If you don't want to slide, you will wear your shoes because it's made of rubber. It will make you slow down. If you don't want to slide, you will not put water on the ground. If you want to slide and play, okay, you can wear your ice skates and then go to on the ice and then play. So you are controlling the friction. You are controlling it. How? It's called contact forces. You are controlling it. So we are having two types of forces, non-contact force and contact force. Non-contact means what? That you are not doing anything. It's out of your hands. You are not touching it. Can you control the gravity? No. Can you control the magnetism? No. You're getting a magnet either to attract or not attract. You are standing here on the ground or on the floor. This is the gravity. Can you fly? No. Okay? And then the contact forces means that you are controlling it, you are touching it. You can control the friction, either to make it slow down, okay, means that you are slowing or you are lowering the friction, or to make it higher friction, okay. For example, if you are playing a game with anyone, okay, and you are putting sandpapers on the ground, you're putting erasers, you are putting rubber sticks, you don't want them to step over them and they will slide. No, they are slowing down this person. Okay. For example, if there is water on the floor or there is oil on the floor, you will slide on. This is making the friction slow or low. Okay. So this is contact force. You are controlling it. Okay. Okay, here comes a page in your resource pack. Okay, we will be able to solve it. Okay, it's page 20. Okay, in question 2, we are going to circle the best answer. Okay, number 1, what causes a magnet to attract and repel? What causes the magnet to attract and repel? Is it the magnetic force, or the contact force, or the gravity, or the friction? It is the Yes, it is the magnetic force. 2. What is the gravity? Is it the pulling force between two objects? Or is it the weight of an object in space? Or is it the changing state of the object? Or is it the weight plus the mass of an object? Which one? We can exclude it. If you don't know any answer, we can exclude. Is it the weight of an object in space? No, there is no gravity in space. Is it the changing state of an object? Are you changing between solid, liquid, and gas? No. Is it the weight plus the mass of an object? Did we take weight plus mass equals the gravity? No, also. So it's the pulling force, the gravity, it's the force of pulling objects to the ground. Okay, number 3. All of the following will increase the friction. What does mean by increase the friction? Means it is slowing down the thing. Sandpaper, slow or make it faster? Slow. So it is decreasing the friction. Okay, sorry, it is increasing the friction. I'm sorry. The sandpaper is increasing the friction. Rough stones increase or decrease stones? It means increasing the friction or decreasing it? Increasing it. Oil, yes, decreasing the friction. Rubber, increasing the friction. So the answer will be oil. Okay, so the sandpaper, the stones, and the rubber, they are increasing the friction. They are slowing down the movement. Okay, so they are increasing the friction, except the oil, it is decreasing the friction. It makes the movement faster. Number 4, study the chart. Here is a gravity, so here is a chart, okay? Which object has the greatest weight? Skateboard, it is the amount of gravity of it 7, scooter 15, bicycle 30, canoe is 75. So which one has the greatest weight? It will be, yes, letter A, the canoe. Here is a critical thinking question. Suppose you lost an iron key in the sand. What could you use to help you to find the key? You are having a key which is made of iron, and then this key, it went in the sand and you lost it. What would you do to get this iron key? You will use what? You will use a magnet, right? So the magnet will attract the iron key from the sand. Why? Because the sand is solid, and we said that the magnet can attract the things even if they are having solid things on it. So the magnet can attract the iron key even if it is in the sand, right? Okay. This is the end of our lesson today. I hope that you understood well. Don't worry, we are going to revise each part on each session this week, okay, until we finish it. And then we will start next week a new lesson, okay? Thank you so much and have a nice day.